Welcome back to This is VANCOLOUR. One of the arguments against cannabis legalization was that it will increase impaired driving. Well, cannabis has been legalized in Canada since 2018, so are more people driving impaired? Breaking it down is my counterpart on the Soapbox Social Panel, which you can find on CBC Radio's On the Coast with Gloria Makarenko every Thursday at 4:10 p.m. Representing Acumen Law, she is Kyla Lee, and this is Kyla's Court. So Kyla, we're going on 6 years of cannabis legalization here in Canada. Has impaired driving as a result of cannabis consumption actually increased?
No, and there have been a number of studies that have actually tracked whether or not there's been an increase in impaired driving as a result of cannabis legalization. And the most recent, most comprehensive study looking at what happened after cannabis legalization found that there was actually a decrease overall in impaired driving. There was no increase in cannabis impaired driving, and alcohol impaired driving has actually been on the decrease since legalization.
Are you telling me that the opponents of drug liberalization were fear-mongering this whole time?
They created this horrible boogeyman and made really, really strict impaired driving laws when really they should have just waited for it to play out, because actually cannabis legalization seems to be good overall.
Do police actually have methods in which they can determine whether or not you're stoned? And I'm taking away, the smell of it, but let's say someone has taken an edible. Can they actually tell if you're stoned or not?
There are physical coordination tests that are used in Canada that they do both at the roadside and then at the police station. The roadside ones, while they say that they're supposed to be able to tell how you're stoned, don't actually apply to cannabis and are specific to alcohol in all of the validation studies that have been done. The ones at the police station will essentially determine what drug impairs you among a category of 7 different drugs.
That's at the station.
That's
so not
at the
in
station.
A roadside check or anything.
No, not in a roadside check.
Interesting.
And those ones, the symptoms that they're looking for cannabis impairment are normal. Essentially, if you're normal, you're probably impaired by cannabis.
What? I don't understand. What do you mean if you're normal?
So they have a grid of a number of things that they look for, like your pupil size, your heart rate, your muscle tone, all of those things. And if you come back as normal on the majority of them, that's a sign of cannabis impairment.
But wouldn't you have it normal if you were not impaired at all? Yeah.
Yes. So the tests
sounds terrible.
They're terrible tests. They do follow it up with a urine test or a blood test to look for metabolites of cannabis or the presence of THC, depending on whether it's urine or blood that's being tested, and they use that to corroborate their findings. So if you have cannabis metabolites in your urine and you appear normal, you're probably impaired by cannabis.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. Now, I know that CBD, which is a cannabinoid, is very popular. People use it for inflammation or just to relax. Does CBD actually impair you where you shouldn't be operating a motor vehicle?
There is no scientific research that supports that CBD has any impairing effects on the ability to drive. The effects of CBD, in fact, some studies even suggest that a lot of them are sort of psychosomatic effects and not real. Yes.
Okay.
But the effects of CBD are really going to only improve the faculties that you need to be driving. So there is no support for the claim that CBD might impair you.
So if you work out and you take CBD as an anti-inflammatory, you're good to go. You can drive your car.
Yes, but you should always make sure that there is no even trace amounts of THC in that, because if that did come up as a metabolite in your urine, you could still end up charged.
That makes a lot of sense. Kyla, thank you so much for your time tonight. Very illuminating as always.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Folks, thank you so much for watching, and thank you to Kyla Lee, Zaya Tong, and Avi Lewis for their time tonight. If you have any thoughts about tonight's show, shoot me an email, mo@thisisvancolor.com. Do you miss plastic straws despite everything that we learned tonight? I might be guilty of that one, so please do not judge me. Also, follow me on X or TikTok @VANCOLOUR. We will be back next week, but for now, this is VANCOLOUR, and I'm Mo Amir telling you that in a province where you can be anything, be colorful. Peace.